Is the government calling another witness? Yes, Your Honor. The government calls Devon Robinson. All right. Please raise your right hand. Devon Robinson, government's witness sworn. Thank you. Please be seated. Please speak directly into the microphone. State and spell your name for the record, please. Devon Jamar Robinson. Sir, you can go ahead and take that microphone and slide it over. And then if you could, scoot up and make sure you speak right into that microphone. All right. Sir, spell your name, please. Full name. DAVON JAMAL ROBINSON. Thank you. You're welcome. Sir, you're currently incarcerated. Yes. How old are you? 31. What educational level did you achieve? A high school diploma. Okay. Have you been convicted of several felonies? Yes. Were you convicted of possession with intent to distribute in around 2006? Yes. I should have said that more clearly. Possession with intent to distribute drugs? Yes. Were you convicted of possession of a controlled dangerous substance around 2007? Yes. Were you convicted of conspiracy and possession with intent to distribute around 2010? Yes. And then in 2012, did you have multiple convictions? Yes. All right. Were they for separate incidents but consolidated at some point? Yes. Okay. Were you convicted of possession of a firearm? Yes. And then were you convicted of assault of an officer around that time as well? Yes. Okay. During interactions with law enforcement in the past, have you ever used an alias, meaning not your own name? Yes. Okay. Multiple times? Yes. And you said that you're currently in jail right now, is that right? Yes. Have you recently pled guilty to a crime in federal court? Yes. And what was that? Racketeering. Racketeering? Conspiracy to distribute. Racketeering conspiracy? Yes. And have you been sentenced for that offense? Yes. And what were you sentenced to? 78 months. Okay, and when you pled guilty, did you plead guilty with both a cooperation agreement and a plea agreement? Yes. What's your understanding of that cooperation agreement? Comply with all stipulations of the plea agreement as far as cooperation, telling what I know, being truthful. Okay, so at some point you decided to cooperate with law enforcement. Yes. Why did you decide to cooperate with law enforcement? With hopes of getting a lighter sentence, leniency on my sentence. And when you were sentenced, let me back up for just a second. Before you were sentenced, did you cooperate in another case other than this one? Yes. And when you were sentenced, was the judge informed of your cooperation in that other case? Yes. To the best of your knowledge, did the judge take into consideration your cooperation in that other case? Yes. So you've already received a lower sentence, is that right? Yes. All right. Is it your hopes by continuing to cooperate that you might receive even less time in prison than 78 months you were sentenced to? Yes. Okay. Throughout your cooperation, has any law enforcement officer or any member of my office made any promises to you that are not contained in either the plea agreement or the cooperation agreement? No. Now, you're incarcerated right now. When were you incarcerated on this current charge? June the 10th, 2015. Until now? Yes. Okay. Were you incarcerated for any lengthy period of time before that? Yes. What? From 11 to the end of 12. 2011 to the end of 2012? Yes. All right. Do you have any gang affiliation, sir? Yes. What is that? Is that the Black Gorilla family? Yes. What ranks have you held in the Black Gorilla family? Commander, Lieutenant Commander, MOJ, MOD, Finance, FM. What is MOJ, MOD, and FM? What do they stand for? Minister of Justice, Minister of Defense. And how about FM? Field Marshal. Okay. How long have you been a member of the Black Gorilla family? About 3.5 years. When was that? Like, what time period? From 12 to 2.5 years, from 12 to 15. And why did your membership in BGF end in 2015? With my cooperation from my case. Are you allowed to cooperate and remain a member of the Black Gorilla family? No. Where were you born, sir? Baltimore, Maryland. Did you grow up in a particular neighborhood in Baltimore? Yes. Where's that? Sandtown. Is it fair to say you lived pretty much your whole life there? Yes. We've talked about a couple of convictions you had for involved drugs. Have you been involved in drug trafficking throughout your life? Yes. Did all of that occur in Baltimore, or have you been involved in drug trafficking in other cities? No, just Baltimore. About what age were you when you started being involved in drug trafficking? 10. What types of drugs have you sold? Marijuana, heroin, cocaine, prescription drugs, stuff like that. Okay, did you stay in just one area of Baltimore when you sold, or have you sold in different places? Different places. Where did you start? Calhoun and Mosier, Sandtown area. And this was back when you were like 10, 11 years old? Yes. What were you selling then? Heroin. Okay. How long did you sell in the Sandtown area? Well, at the time, not long, because I migrated and I went down Cary and Harlem, Cary and Lanville. So you moved to different spots within Sandtown? Yes. Okay, at some point, did you start selling outside of Sandtown? Yes. When was that? 05. Where did you go? Westport. What area of Baltimore is that in? South Baltimore. How long did you stay down there? A couple months, like 2 months. Did you ever come back and start selling again in the Sandtown area? Yes. About when was that? 05. And where were you selling at that point? Harlem and Cary, Harlem and Calhoun. Now, you said that you were incarcerated sometime in, 2011? Yes. Okay. When you got out of prison in 2012, did you go back to drug trafficking? Yes. Where did you start working then? South Baltimore and back in my neighborhood, back and forth. In Sandtown and South Baltimore? Yes. Okay. Why did you move back and forth between your neighborhood and South Baltimore? Because I was functioning in both areas. I was dealing with narcotics in my neighborhood and down South Baltimore. When you say functioning, does that have a specific meaning with BGF? Yeah. That means as far as like I was an active member. Okay. So some of your drug trafficking you were doing on behalf of BGF. You can say because like it's still, a lot of it still like benefits the organization. Okay, sir, I'm going to show you a couple of photos and you'll see it on your monitor right there on your left. This is Government's Exhibit P1. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. Who is that? Montana Barronette. Do you know him by any other name other than Montana Barronette? Tana.